Yeah, what's up? So, no. Hold on. Don't go, bro. Don't go. You're not mistaken. You're not mistaken. I'm playing Survivor. Yes, this is me. See, I'm the Dwight. I'm teabagging. Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's cool. I'm playing Survivor. It's new. It's new. But there's a point to it. There's a point to it. Topic is about killer and survivor. You know how much messages I be getting from Untitled Survivor bitching that a killer's not fair, killer's doing this and that, killer's being OP, blah 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 blah. You know all the bullshit that they be talking about. So my point is, I brought a survivor mate and I'm a killer mate. So we're gonna have a discussion and honestly find out if all the shit survivors be bitching about is actually something that a survivor mate that plays survivor would actually complain about, or is it honestly just people being salty? So the person that I brought is a good friend of mine, my little homie. Go ahead, bro. You introduce yourself.
Alright, what's up? My name is Hex Oppression. Been playing Dead by Daylight for about 2 years. Mainly play Survivor as a Survivor main, but I play Killer every now and again. It's actually a lot more fun than Survivor, especially nowadays, as Survivor just is very, very slow with the Killer games that I get. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, I'm actually glad you said that. Playing Killer's a lot more fun. What makes you being a previous Survivor main? What makes Killer more fun now than Survivor? Like, why did you change? What made Survivor fun for you before versus now?
Versus now, definitely, it's a lot more intense. I get that same energy that I felt when I was playing Survivor for the first time, like that your heart pumping, your like blood is like just rushing of like what you're going to do and how you're going to apply it to end game. Because of course you always can think like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna do it this way, and this game is going to go exactly how I wanted to. But actually being able to apply it is just something completely different. The reason I even fell in love with this game, and Survivor in particular, is the chasing and how immersed and how scared I was of killers. And knowing that I could get downed at any moment, I didn't know where they were coming from.
Just that new player vibe.
And feel to Dead by Daylight. But it's kind of the opposite with Killer now, where it's like, when I play Killer, I still get that same feeling, but I feel like I'm in power. Even though I don't think killers are as strong as they should be, without at least add-ons or perks and stuff like that. Like base killers, a lot of base killers aren't that great. So just me playing Killer is just easily a lot more fun and gives me a lot more rush than I do out of Survivor.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So, since you were a survivor main, I'm pretty sure the same, like Survivor still face the same problem that they did when you was playing Survivor versus now. And it's not like you still don't play Survivor, you still do.
Right.
So, what do you think is the fun factor for playing Survivor? Like, what drew you to Survivor? Like, oh, you said the immersion and all that shit, and the chases. Okay, my fault. So, do you think that survivors out here complaining about what a killer does? Oh, matter of fact, you said being chased is the fun part. So, for you to be chased, a killer has to chase you. For a killer, like around pallets, loop you, whatever the case might be. So then, let's say a killer is in chase with you and you're looping them, like you're really doing some crazy shit with the killer. And finally the killer gets you down, 3 gens pop. As soon as the killer downs you, you were doing a good job kiting him, whatever, you didn't, oh shit. You didn't kite, you didn't teabag him, you didn't do no toxic shit. You were just, playing a regular good ass survivor. So the next thing you know, you get down now, right? You can hit niggas through the window? Oh, this nigga know what he's doing. So let's say you're playing good, right? Like you got everything, the killer's down, and then finally you get unhooked. You get saved. How would you feel if the killer, next thing you know, you see the killer right on you, and then the killer chases you? Would you get mad at that for what the killer did, or what? Like, do you think the killer should give you a pass because you just got off the hook and he should go for somebody completely different? Or do you think it's justifiable that the killer does what he did?
Definitely think it's justifiable. As sure, not in most cases, survivors are not toxic to the killer when they are camping or tunneling in case. So you might just really be having a great game, you're looping, you're doing whatever you got to do to keep the killer's attention off of your teammates. But at the same time, the killer is also now put in a situation where 4 gens of pop, 1 gen is halfway done, doesn't have pop for the weasel, doesn't have anything to counter said endgame. Of course, he's now going to be like, well, shit, I got to camp you, I got to tunnel, I got to ensure that I at least get a kill. And if that butterfly affects into more kills, then that's even better. So I definitely don't. Oh, here's another note.
I knew it. I had a feeling because the way he was playing, he wasn't pressing generators or none of that shit. I knew he had no way. Cause like that's how I would be. I'll be. He was way too lax for like to not have for me not have no way. Way too lax.
So exactly, like that's something like NOED, right? Him having that perk, I wouldn't complain about. Like it's obvious that he had that just in case he got gen rush or just the game didn't go his way and how he wanted it to go. So he had that as a backup. So of course I exactly understand why he has that perk and why he feels that he needs to run that perk. So stuff like that I don't think survivors should complain about. I understand, of course you're going to get upset, especially if you're just running in games back to back to back where it's NOED, it's iridescent head, it's a really good nurse, it's all these things that killers really can't control to a point, at least with being good. Like, I mean, of course they're going to try to be as good as possible, and of course they're going to run the perks that they want to run. So you thinking like, oh well, this killer should have did this, he should have did this, trying to accommodate to your needs and wants, which shouldn't ever be the case in any competitive game. Dead by Daylight, any shooter, anything. There's no reason a person should be able to be like, you know what, I want you to play like this, and that person plays like this. Because you don't take that into consideration when you're playing a certain way and you want to know how the killer feels. At that point, you just like, oh, well, I'm having fun, type shit.
So fuck what the killer feels, right? Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm glad that you brought up perks. So a lot of survivors that I play with complain about perks. So let's say they were doing good in the beginning, they were gen rush. I got gen rushed. I hate the term gen rush. So let's just say the survivors played, they did what they're supposed to do. Because it is a survivor's job to get the generators and leave. If they want to do that, by far, go ahead. Do what you got to do. That's your prerogative. That's what you're supposed to do. As a killer, I cannot bitch about that. But let's say I do get gen rush. I'm like, fuck. And let's say I'm not that good of a strong killer. Like me, my weaknesses is I suck at tracking. I suck at following scratch marks, and I suck at generator patrol. So why not bring perks that could help me do that? Or when I know, like, let's say I know I'm gonna lose, or I feel like the game is going to go into the end game, why would I not choose to bring blood warding? Why would I not choose to bring NOED? Especially now that I can open the door for myself. Like, I could get a crazy blood warding play and get a stupid snowball effect. But it's like, why are survivors bitching talking about, oh, you're a bum for using that, you're using crutch perks, as a rank 1 killer, you should be better than that, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, why do you think survivors feel like they have the need to say that, but then they could use shit like Soul Guard, Unbreakable, Borrowed Time, Sprint Burst, Dead Hard, fucking D-Strike. They could use all these stuff, but when the killer does basically the same thing to help them win, they complain about it. Why do you think survivors do that? And do you think do you think it's fair that survivors should be, not even fair, do you think the survivors have the right to do that?
I definitely think mostly it's entitled survivors that do that. Like, I think normal survivors, like, even though I'm survivor main, me, I don't really care what they use. Like, if you use what you gotta use, cool, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and if I beat you, then I beat you. It doesn't make it any more respectable, and if I lose, it doesn't make it any less respectable that you use said perks. Like, to me, I'd feel like it's always gonna mostly be my fault. Sometimes, yeah, the killer, you can't really do anything about that, he tunnels you, etc., etc. But like with perks, I feel that with survivors having perks, I think when killers complain, survivors also feel the need to complain. So if a killer says, why are you using this perk? Why are you using this item just to bully me? Whatever. Survivors, you know, especially entitled ones, feel the need to defend themselves, and they'll be like, well, you use this, and this, but it's fun for me to do said thing. Not that I don't care about your feelings, it's just fun for me to do said thing. And it's like, well, you were a victim of circumstance type shit. Where it's not like, oh, sometimes survivors do intend to bully, and sometimes survivors do intend, they make that their permanent goal to annoy the killer. But the survivors that do use toxic builds, that don't intend for it, they just come off that way because of their perks or because of the way they play in their playstyle, then that's when it becomes a matter of, well, you shouldn't be mad when a killer catches you with, let's say, just lesser perks. Let's say he just has like spies or like fucking beast of prey, perks like that, and he still downs you, he kills you effectively. He doesn't use any quote unquote unfair strategies like tunneling or camping, and you still are mad because you got caught, not because something happened with the killer, not because your teammates did something, not because, oh, well, I was lagging and the servers are ass. It's nothing like that. It was permanently, I don't know, it was certainly your fault. Like 100%.
So you think it's just basically entitlement, and they're just mad that they lost? Do you think it just comes
Yeah.
down to that?
Yeah, and sometimes, like, it can come down to fun, where it's like, if they didn't have fun, of course they're going to be upset, and of course they're going to be a little angry or annoyed, and so then they'll go, at that point they'll go out of the way to message you, and they'll see, oh no, they'll
But
see your
isn't
end
that
game.
really shouldn't that really fall under like if they feel like they didn't have fun, that's on them,
Right.
because like that's honestly, I can't control what you find is fun. I can't control what you think is fun. Like fun is subjective. So
Yeah.
if they're saying that they're not having fun, and then it gets deeper to the point. Okay, why are you not having fun? Are you only having fun when you're being chased by the killer? When you're teabagging the killer? When you're not getting caught? Are you having fun when you're doing generators? Like, what do you have fun from? If the chases is what give you fun, then do you get mad when a killer downs you in the chase? And if you do, and that stops you from having fun, shouldn't that be something that you work on? Like, how did I get down here? Should I have taken a left when I took a right? Should I have used the pallet when I went for the window? Should I have done the one more extra loop? Should I have moved on to another loop? Like a multitude of things should come into the head. But at the end of the day, it's your fault. Cause me being a killer, I really cannot get kills unless a survivor fucks up. Like yes, there's things I can do like mind tricks to try to get them to 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 do something that's favorable for me. But then at the same time, that's still them fucking up, and it depends on them messing up for me to get a hit. No matter how good you are as a killer, it's not like this is a fighting game where you could do crazy ass shit. This is a asymmetrical horror game. So there's only so many things that the game would allow you to do that you can honestly do to try to outplay a survivor. And even once again, outplaying them falls back to they're the ones that have to make the mistake, and I have to capitalize on that. So why do you think survivors don't understand that if for us as a killer to hook a survivor, to down them, to kill them, it all depends on what the fuck the survivor does. Like we're reacting to what they do. It's not like they're react. Yes, they're reacting to what we do, but we're reacting.
Right.
But it's us mainly. Because if a survivor takes a
Is that
left, do I want to mind game them? Do I want to go left and walk? Do I want to moonwalk? Do I want to confuse them? Yes, cool. And then if they get hit, then you could say that's the survivor's fault for getting hit, for falling for the mind trick. If I see, like me right now, like we're playing survivor. If I see a killer trying to mind game me in a loop, and I know it's not a safe loop, I'm gonna leave that shit and go to a whole nother area. If you stay there for longer than you can, and you get hit and you get down and you get hooked and then you get tunneled or camped, whatever, I feel like it's your fault. But there is some situations where killers would honestly just face camp you for whatever reason that might be. But if that's the case, there's so many ways to punish the killer. Everybody knows that's a death slinger. Everybody knows what to do to fucking get rid to fucking punish a camping killer. Do generators. Have your other people do generators. The most they can get is one kill. Don't feed them. Why did I fucking pull that down? Don't feed them. The only thing, like, if you feeding them is how they win. If you don't feed them and you just get about your business, then you're. Oh, he got me. Oh, this nigga nice. This nigga nice. I see what you mean by the quick scope. So, like right there, I got down because I fucked up. I accidentally threw that pallet down, and then instead of me running downstairs and going to another loop, I fucked around this loop and got sniped. That's my fault. So it's shit like that. Once you realize it's your fault or that you're the one that messed up, I feel like that eliminates a lot of the toxicness that the Dead by Daylight community goes through. Like, it fucks this, it gets rid of this whole killer versus survivor type shit. Like, you have to pick a side. Like, this is the only game, like, honestly, this is the only game I play where the community is so fucking split, so fucking divided. I feel like at the end of the day, we're all trying to have fun. We're all playing a game that we all paid for, that we all, I don't know, some people like more than the others, but we're all still playing the same exact game. So why should we not do stuff that's the proper, I'm not even gonna say proper, but why not do something that makes the game better? Because as a survivor, no matter how, or as a killer, this advice goes to anybody. No matter how bad the game is, no matter how bad your previous game is going, no matter how bad the game you're in right now is going, there's always a next lobby. Just keep that shit in mind. There's always another lobby. There's always another way. You can. It's a game. So why do you feel like you need to go out your way to be toxic? Or why do you feel like, I mean, not you, but you know, and when I say survivors, I'm not talking about every survivors. I'm talking about this entitled one. If you don't do the shit that we're talking about right now that I'm saying, then this is not a just to you. It's not to you. So like, why do that? Like that's my thing. Well, why bitch about it? Why not just worry about what's fair? Like, why not do like, oh, you know what? My job is to get out as a survivor. Let me do that. Let me focus on that. If I'm being chased, okay, let me do what I'm doing as a chase. But if you decide to teabag or whatever, and I'm not saying teabag is not a strategy, because it definitely is. You could use that shit to kite the survivor. I mean, to kite the killer. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's definitely a wholehearted strategy. But then if you do that because you wanted to be toxic, and you or you wanted to be chased or whatever, you can't get mad at the killer for interpret, you know, understanding it as fuck. Understanding it as, this nigga trying to BM me, so you know what, if I down you, I'm a face camp you, nigga. You think you that good? I bet, say less. So it's like, you can't get mad at that. It's like if I go to Floyd Mayweather and slap that nigga, and he fucks me up, and then I go to the cops. Yo, this nigga hit me, bro. Why you do that? Nigga toxic, man. What the fuck wrong with him? It was like, yo, you know how dumb you sound? It don't make sense. You like, that's basically what I feel like survivors do when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. Like, to me, I think it's to the point where it's like, okay, to me, it's like, so when survivors are entitled, like, I feel like it's the thing, it's like when you grief somebody in a game, right? I don't personally do it, but I understand some people that do grief in games. It's like where you grief somebody, and it's like, you'll have fun doing that. To me, I don't understand why, but you'll have fun doing that. And I think that's kind of the crux of their argument. Well, it's like, well, I'm having fun doing toxic shit, so it's like, but then it's like when something happens to them, it will be, oh man, like, you're so toxic, bro. Like, I hate killers in this game. Killers are so OP, even though they're not. And even if they were, I feel like
yeah, bitch, I'm behind the pallet.
The reasons that they complain are not due because, oh, well, yeah, I think this killer's actually overpowered or he's broken. It's because they just happened to get down one time in a game where they didn't feel like it was fair to them because they wanted to keep looping. They wanted to keep being toxic. They wanted to escape with 4 emblems, like 4 golden red emblems or whatever. Like, that's, at that point, it's not about actually having fun. It's just about you wanting what you want, and the killer not really getting anything in return.
That's a fact. But at the end of the day, you can't really like. Why should you care? I'm gonna say this for survivors. Why should you care about what the killer wants? But then if you're taking it that way, why should the killer care what you want? So you really can't. I feel like that's what we should strive for. What's really like what's fair. So for the next, alright. So another question I got. So for survivors, right? Your objective in the game is, let's say. Alright, let me rephrase it. So right now we know that we know a lot about this game. Like this is not a new game. It's an old game. There's tech out there. There's countless videos talking about how to loop how to loop a killer, how to get away from a killer. You should be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. There's countless guide videos out. So now that this game is in the stage that it is, for example, like if you're fighting a no-ed, or if you're playing a game and then like you play a lot, you're in a rank where a lot of killers use no-ed. And you have a possibility that maybe no-ed is on the field. Why? And you don't go for totems. Like you walk past a totem and you leave that shit be. You don't destroy it. Do you think a survivor should be able to message a killer and bitch about them, telling them you shouldn't be like, don't use no-ed? Like, why did you use no-ed type shit? Like you can't do this and that. We said that they shouldn't be able to do it. And that the reason that they do it is because they're salty and that they lose. So what do you think is considered a win for a survivor? Is it just purely escaping? It doesn't matter how bad you do. Like let's say if somebody is dead on hook, they're injured, they're limping outside type shit. Do you think that them fucking escaping is considered a win? And if it does, then what's your criteria as a win? Is pipping if they pip, does that count as a win? If they safety, does that count as a win? If they don't safety, is that an L? If they escape but don't safety, is that an L? If they escape but don't pip or whatever, is that a win? Like, so what's a win for survivors?
To me, I think for win for survivors, depending on like, I'm gonna say your rank, but I'll just say your playtime and how much you have played this game. From beginning, of course, yeah, you're gonna want to escape every game. As survivor, as soon as you know the objective is to escape, that sets a precedent in your mind. Like, oh, okay, so if I what's it called? If I don't escape, then I must have lost. I must have lost, type shit. Instead of being like, well, okay, I had fun, but I did die, so it still doesn't count as a win to me. That's like this shit I'm talking about. But mainly, I feel like it's definitely escaping for sure. For obviously people, more playtime is more than likely rank. Then like after a while, rank doesn't matter. So.
Like for me, it's like once I got to rank 1 once and I didn't get a trophy, I was like, there's no point in getting rank 1 no more. It's stupid. But like, even if you play the game, you rank up, win or lose, bad or good, you're still gonna rank up. You're still gonna get to that rank point. It might take longer if you play worse, but you're still gonna get there. So, he's coming this way. I gotta be right. Damn, he still hit me, bro. Oh, I'm dead on hook. Oh, GG. So, like, I play games like my last video I put out. It was a spirit video. I played I got dick. Like, well, I won, but it was mad competitive. I won because of no-ed, fucking speaking of which, but it was just mad competitive. But I love games like that. Even if I had lost, I think I still would have fucked with the game. Like, I would have liked it because, oh, he got me. Because it's competitive. Am I one shot? How does that one shot me? Can somebody explain it? I don't get this, bro. But whatever, I'm dead. So, oh, flashlight save? Nope, nigga sucked. So, it's like, even though I had fun in that game and everybody escaped, I still wouldn't consider that a win, but I still have fun, so I wouldn't care. Like right now, like this nigga tunneled me. I'm not gonna say tunneled me, cause he didn't. Nah, that's a lie. He did not fucking tunnel me at all. He just he found me. He found me, and I was in bad situations. I died because of my shit. That was my fault. Complete. He played good, so GG to him. Like, I can't complain about shit like this. Even though I died, I still think it was cool. I still have fun.
Right. Something like Survivor, after a while it gets really boring. You're just going against, especially if you're in high ranks, you're going against the same killers. I get why, but it's also still not fun to go against the same killers, even though there might be different
That's a perfect
skill
question.
gaps.
I got a
Right.
question. Perfect question.
Hmm.
Do you think in the high ranks people are playing against the same killer because they have to because some of the killers are just that weak, or do you think they're playing the same killer because of the survivors that they face in that rank and they know what those survivors are capable of? So instead of bringing somebody like the hack, I'm not gonna say the hack because she's not weak. Like let's say instead of bringing
Right.
somebody like fucking Michael Myers. I hate to say it, but
Right.
Mikey is weak to me. Instead of bringing someone like Mikey, you bring the nurse or the spirit. Do you think like it's because what do you think the reason that is that people are facing the same killers over and over again, or that there's not enough killer diversity?
Because like when you look at these videos, or you play, even if you have the game, you play it, you see how, let's say you're like 8 or purple ranks. You see these killers playing like somebody like Doctor, see somebody playing like Pig, maybe a hag that's not that great, but this hag, and you bully them, or they feel as though they're getting bullied. So now it's like, well, how am I ever going to ascend to high ranks if I don't play these killers? Because the survivors that go against these, like not the actual people that play in them, but the killer themselves are trash, or they're not as good as other killers like the nurse, the spirit, even hillbilly still to a point. Like them killers, they're kind of forced upon them. Whereas like, well, it feels like I'm not even getting better. Like as much as you can be really good with like a C or D tier killer, you can be great with them. But at what point is it like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I need to play somebody else if I want to ascend. Even if it's for a couple games, just to get out of let's say purple ranks, just to get out of that, and you might go back to playing your C tier killer, just to depip again because you stopped playing them, and now they're bullying you and capitalizing off you playing a non viable killer. So I think it's both where it's like, well, if you're seeing the same survivors, oh yeah, you're definitely probably going. If you know how they play, you know how they work, you're definitely probably gonna play the same killer, for sure. I mean, you might want to try out with a different killer just to test your abilities as the killer, but most of the time you're probably gonna be playing the same one. And I also think it's like, well, what can the killers do to ensure that it's like, okay. Well, I'm going to need to play this killer, or this killer, or this killer, just to stay above float in my high ranks. Because a lot of people still care about ranks, and in order to stay above that, survivors don't gotta worry about that. I mean, I guess with perks, but other than that, they don't have to worry about
Yeah.
constantly dying to great killers. I
That's why
mean,
you
sure,
really
it
don't
gets
see
boring.
a lot of survivor guys, because every survival is essentially the same fucking thing, just different person, different
Okay.
cosmetics, bro.
Right. Once you know looping, you're pretty much done. Once you know 360 in, pretty much done. At that point, it's just more of how do you want to play this game? Do you want to be toxic? Use toxic perks. You can do that. Do
Okay.
you want to do all this, do all that? But with killers, it's like you gotta really break down a killer. You gotta recognize hitboxes, because hitboxes have been an issue for a while now. Like with hunters, like you have to know the pinpoint of how you're going to hit this hatchet. If it's not like
Bro,
close, if you're like
who the
far,
fuck are you telling? Do you know how much times I get, bro? Jesus fucking huntress, bro. The skill gap, but it's so rewarding. It's if you could get there,
right.
it's so rewarding. But she's hard. She's hard to play, bro.
Mm-hmm.
She is not easy. And then when I finally do kill like good survivors, they have the nerve to message me saying "fuck you." Like yo, it's really crazy. Like I be thinking, do survivors just really want killers to just lay down and play dead and just let them run wild? Well, like, would that be fun for you? Like, let's say you get into a game, right? And then a killer, I down, like me playing a killer, right? I find you first, I down you, I hook you, I go all the way to the end of the fucking map, and then I just chill there for a minute. Just get popped. I come back finally to where you got hooked. I see you. There's one gen left. I'll leave your ass alone. Find somebody else. Down them. And then leave. Just hook them. And then I see you. Down you again. But wait, you're about to die. Hold on. Survivors. Yeah, I got it. I got invisible moves. I got you. I'm tunneling. Let me leave you alone. So then I'll find somebody else. And then when the door is open, when I down you, I pick you up and drop you at the door. Is that how y'all want us killers to do? Do y'all want us not to kill?
Right. Mm. Like
Like
I think
honestly,
it's
wouldn't that be boring?
yeah, because it's like when you like how you farm, you don't do anything. You just down the person. You might hook them once or twice, and then you get your points and leave. But that's boring because you know what you're getting. With a game of killer, just normal. You don't know the people. You don't even know what to expect. You learn about them as you're playing, which is like the fun part of killer, but at the same time
Exactly.
is the most
Outplaying
stressful.
a survivor. It's
Right.
stressful as fuck, but when you do it and you read that play or being a survivor, when you hit that 360, when you do that big brain shit, when you do the whatever the CJ tech is, I don't know what it is, but I hear a lot of
Right.
people saying it now. So whatever that
Mm.
shit is, when you do that shit or you do the window thing, you feel so fucking proud of yourself. You feel so
Right.
fucking big brain because you earned it. Like you can't take that away from you. Like a killer could kill you, but at the end of the day, bitch, I did that CJ take on you. I did this
Exactly.
on you. You didn't do that. Like, but and as a killer,
Right.
like yo, I hit that cross map. I'm the one that killed you, boy. What's up? I did that. Like,
Right.
it's so much reward in that way. I feel like that's how that's what makes the game enjoyable for me. I don't know about anybody else, but that's what makes it enjoyable for me. So for you to get mad at a killer for playing that way and for trying to make the game enjoyable, that's just that shit weird to me, bruh.
Like I get like when of course nobody always wants to try hard. It's a race, by the way.
But
No one always wants to try hard. Of course not. Like you just want to chill and like kick back and just like play normal games of Dead by Daylight or
scared the
whatever game you're
fuck out
playing.
of me, bro. Oh my
So of
god.
course not. But at the same time, it's like you can't expect everybody to want to chill like you. Of course, you're going to get
I'm under a
games
pallet. I'm
where,
under a pallet. Somebody come get me. I'm under a pallet. Oh fuck y'all
of course, you're going
niggas.
to games where it's like, well, the guys are going to try hard, or the guys are going to at least try, right? Of course, like you can't have a game without that and be like, oh well, I expect him to be on the same page as me, because that's not going to get you. Like, I know you might want to be like
Hold on, hold
chill.
on. I don't mean to cut you off, but like this perfect example right now. If I was the Wraith as this killer, I have two people on hook. I could see
Right.
one gen there, and another one back there that they were working on. I would not leave this position. I would patrol the
Right.
fuck out of both of these areas right now as a killer. I would not leave that position. But like I said, he's a better killer than me because he left and went to search, and he got somebody else for it. But like it's shit like that that survivors don't think about. What do you think is honestly struggles that the survivors have to deal with, even if it's game glitches? Because killer mains might not know what survivor. Definitely, we don't know what y'all go through. So,
Right.
what are some of the struggles that survivors go through that are either caused by the killer or just caused by the game being how the game is?
Sometimes how the game is like dead hard. I know that was a major problem. Like, you'll be exhausted, like from using your perk, but you'll still get down and you won't even get the animation of dead hard,
Let's heal. Let's heal. Come back.
or
Come back.
you
Come back. Come
will
back.
get the or you will get said animation of dead hard, but the killer still downs you, even though you're supposed to have invincibility frame for like a couple seconds as you dead hard. Sometimes obviously going against killers with like really good builds isn't ideal, but I wouldn't really say it's much of a struggle. It's more of a you don't want that thing to happen. Like,
Okay.
of course you don't, but it's not much of a really struggle. It's just more of a thing that you have to deal with as survivor. It's gonna come with it comes with the job. Like you can't expect to always have a killer that's gonna have fucking Beast of Prey 1 as his only perk. You can't expect that because as you rank up, there's killers don't really run without meta perks. You can't expect them to not do that, especially if you're going to continue to be better and continue to improve on your game. So I don't really say many struggles. Like I understand like toxicity, like when you're getting camped and it's the only game, it frustrates you for sure. Like definitely. But at the same time, you still can help your teammates because you are getting camped, because you are getting tunneled. You still can be as bait or of service to your teammate. Even though you're not be able to do an insane amount because you know, you're getting camped and tunnel. There's not much you can do in that situation. But you being bait and you like
let me hear
doing,
you.
doing stuff like that is what makes the most sense to me. That's why I feel like when survivors complain about shit like that, it's so strange to me because really expects. I don't understand, like either you want a cakewalk of a game or you don't want a cakewalk of a game and you complain when it's not easy enough for you. Like, because this game doesn't have a difficulty setting. It's not a single player game. It's gauged, the difficulty of games are gauged off of the other people that you play against. So you complaining that a game is difficult, then I mean the game is difficult. You just got to get better. Like, it's not about sometimes, yeah, if they use OP perks that you feel as though you was like, oh man, we should have won that game because of X, Y, and Z, or whatever, how you feel about that stuff. Like, to me that feels like you're not whining, but you're at that point just making something out of nothing.
And I'm sorry about that. I was AFK for a minute because a family member came inside and asked me a question. So what if let's say you get a problem like that, or you get like a glitch or something that's not supposed to happen. Do you what situations would you want your killer to have mercy, to take mercy on you more? Like, let's say you have a bad team or what, like you're doing something. Do you feel like there's certain situations where you think or you feel like the killer should be merciful or what?
I feel like primarily it should really only be glitches. Like, I feel like you can be merciful with everything. Like, easily, you can be merciful with anything. It doesn't have to be a specific situation. But that's not a house. Like, they would rather just kill everybody. But for me, sometimes I feel like you should be a little bit more lenient, however you pronounce it, with like glitches and stuff, because that's out of both y'all control. I mean, it's not like, oh well, you can't take advantage of this glitch and this and like, but at the same time, it's also like, well, I can't control that. You can't control that. If you were glitching, like, I mean, I would at least try, even though it's a lot harder for survivors to help out killers when they're in glitches compared to survivors when they're in glitches, stuff like that. But, you know, I still would be a little bit more lenient and, like, at least, you know, attempt to help the killer out or be merciful towards survivor, killer, whatever. Okay. But I know that's not everybody, so I can't say, like, you should be like this, for sure. But, you know, that's just not how everybody operates. So, but from speaking my own personal beliefs and opinions, I think that you should be at least a little bit lenient with stuff like when it comes to glitches, because that's out of your control. That's just the game in its, you know, bugginess.
Okay. Thoughts? Anything you might want to say to new survivors, so maybe they don't message the killer or whatever the case might be? Any advice?
It's okay to die. It's perfectly fine, bruh. Like, especially if you're just starting out, you're going to die.
Like I just did, bro. I got fucked this whole game.
Right. It's like, I'm not saying it should be your goal to die. Of course you don't want to die, but it should be your goal to improve. Take into consideration, oh man, could I have looped this better? Could I have cut this corner a little bit faster? Could I have did this certain thing a lot better? Like, what can you do? And because in most cases, you're not going to be facing a bunch of times where it's like, oh, well, I died because of this glitch. To where it's like, oh, well, how am I ever going to improve if I keep facing these glitches? But so most of the time, it relies on you. And once you can figure that out, you'll have such a better time playing this game. Such a better time. And I know in the beginning stages, you probably will have a lot of fun just goofing around, being scared of killers and stuff. But eventually, when you get past that stage of not being scared of killers and wanting to survive, because playing immersive isn't always a guaranteed survival, you will want to start learning how to do this and that, and then you'll want to not die as much. But you have to also accept eventually you're going to die, no matter how good you are for your first time, no matter how lucky you can get off of your first couple attempts at playing a game, you're going to die. That's the main thing. And for tips, like just looping, a lot of this game is 50-50, 50-50s. So it's like up to the killer is whether your decision making. Either you can vault this pallet or you don't, and the killer either does something or the killer doesn't. So it's a lot of guessing, and that guessing potentially paying off. But you figuring out killers and how they operate in game, or even by playing killer yourself. That's why I prefer you play both sides, because you playing the killer can also help you by playing survivor, even if you want to be a survivor main. So with that, you learning that stuff can even increase your odds of survival, or even increase your odds of play and how good you are. But that's honestly about it, really. Like everything else is like what comes naturally to you. 360, and you can look up a video on that, and you'll just start learning over time how to do it effectively. Looping.
Honestly, all you have to
thing.
do to 360, just keep running shit and just turn your camera. Like don't try to turn your character, but just rotate the camera itself. That's honestly all you have to do. If you need to tilt like your left joystick or your WAS whatever, if you need to move that, just adjust it diagonally slightly and just rotate the camera, and that's honestly it. And as for me, the
Exactly,
one
like
tip I want to add on to, oh my bad, go ahead. Go ahead, my fault.
no, that's really it. Like you covered everything. Like it's simple. Like this game at its core is very simple. But if you want to exceed what you are at right now, you have to learn the nitty gritty of this game. What does this? What does that? How effective can this be? Like you have to really learn about the game. You can't just get on the game, play a couple games, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done. But no, you would have to take your own research outside of the game by watching YouTube videos or whatever you need to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I want to add one thing. That's just you don't. I don't want you guys to feel like this game is all research like an MMORPG, because it's honestly not. But you'll get what he means if you like. If you play this game, you know what he means. And if you don't play this game and you're about to play this game, then you'll understand what he means later on. It's like, okay, so like I'm gonna bring these and these add-ons are good with this and this flashlight, or this build is good on blah 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 blah. But the tip I want to give. But if you're a killer main or a survivor main, learn the maps, bro. You have so much more fucking leverage if you learn the maps. Once you get the maps down, you have so much more leverage. You don't understand how much more leverage you have. And if you're learning the maps, there are certain perks that helps you with that. So try to find out which perks those are, and then add them to your arsenal. And then once you learn the maps, you're like, this is a waste of a perk slot. Get rid of that shit. Use something better. But once you learn the maps, you're good. Like you said, it comes down to the loops as a survivor. Same thing as a killer. It's 50-50. If as a survivor, if you know the maps better than the killer, you're good. I have a pallet here. This is Shack pallet, right? You know what? Once I break that, I'm gonna go left. There's another pallet there. Let me rotate that. Then boom, you're good. You're right there. If you know the map better than the killer, he might not think there's a pallet there. He might go under it, get a pallet slam. It might save you that 1 extra second to get that last gen or to open that final door, whatever it might be. Learn the maps. And also, there's always another lobby, guys. There's always another lobby. No matter how bad the game is going right now, no matter how bad the game was, no matter how bad you think the game will be, there's always another lobby. There's always another killer. There's always other survivors. There's always another lobby. So just keep that in mind. If you honestly feel pissed off to the point where you want to message the killer, think first. Before this, at least think about it. Think, is it truly the killer's fault that I'm in this situation? Because I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times that you're in a bad situation, that you feel like the killer did something wrong in, or that you wanted mercy or sympathy on it, it's your fault or it's the other survivor's fault. Like in the gameplay that you're watching when we're talking, you see how much dumb shit I did, and I didn't bitch about that crap because I know it's my fault, and I even called it out myself that it was my fault. But you gotta understand that once you get into that logic, you know that if it's your fault, then man, you just gotta take a deep breath, compose yourself, relax. Just be like, all right, man. Next time I'm gonna do this better. Next time I'm gonna do that better. But if it is the killer's fault, and he's legitimately face camping you, and he's legitimately tunneling you, or whatever the case might be, like he's not capitalizing on a bad save, he's not doing this, and that. If it's legitimately the killer's fault, then go ahead. If you feel like you need to message him to tell him, yo, suck my dick, little nigga, what's wrong with you? Message him and tell him to suck your dick. Like I understand, but then you can't get mad at what the killer does. And another tip I got: be fucking patient. Like my boy said, it's 50-50, bro. Be patient. Win that 50-50. You don't know how many, if y'all watch my videos, you know how many times I miss whiffs. Like, you don't know how many hits I could have gotten, how many chases I could have cut short by half if I was just patient and waited before I swung. And same thing for a survivor. Like when I'm playing, like when like time, you know how many times I down survivor because when they drop the pallet, when I fake going to the left and they immediately vault over again and I just go back and down them. If you had waited, you would have seen what the killer was doing and then you would react accordingly. Be patient. That's the most important thing I can say for both parties is be patient. And just know this isn't it's an asymmetrical game, guys. We're the killers. We have a lot to do we have a lot to try to understand that your killer has to go through a lot. It's four of you guys. You guys only have to do 5 generators and it's 4 of you. If all of you guys are on a generator, there's only one more gen that has to be done. But a killer can only chase one person. If you guys are dead by there, like a lot of chases happen because people don't want to play stealthy. But if you play stealthy, like when I use corrupted invention, like you see, I go and when I'm playing a good, you could tell a good survivor group versus a bad survivor group. If you're playing a corrupted adventure dude, they would just wait until corrupt is gone and just play stealthy, and I would not find anybody, and boom, I'm down the whole perk, and that's my fault. But like I said, it just try to like I think it's another race. Be stealthy.
Yeah, it is.
Be patient. Just take your time, look at your surroundings, and think about what the killer has to go through. A killer can only chase one person at any given time. So if you're thinking about if you're mad that you're bad, I mean if you're in a bad situation where you feel like you gotta message the killer, think about what the killer had to go through. Without the killers, there is no Dead by Daylight. There is no games. Like, what would you honestly want your killer to do? Think about what the killer could have done differently, and would you do that? Would you have done what you want the killer to do if you was in the killer situation? Think about that, guys. Alright, man. I hope y'all enjoy this discussion. I hope I can't fucking do gens. I hope it helps somebody. I hope if y'all did stay, I know it was a long one. I'm sorry. It was a long one. If y'all stayed through, if y'all toughen it out with me, thank you guys so fucking much, man. If you guys are going through anything, if y'all are going through a rough time, a hard patch in life, whatever the case might be, this COVID shit, if y'all down, if you're having girl problems, boy problems, just know there's, just like Dead by Daylight, there's always another day. You're alive. Whatever problems you're having today only lasted as long as today lasted. A new day, new you, new breath, new situations, new everything. It's a restart. It's a fresh start. Start fresh, man. To anyone that's suffering, that's going through shit, I truly wish I wish y'all the best. Just know, somebody always has a worst, and at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to play. We love this game. If you play it still, if you're on it for all these years, for all the bullshit, all the hacks, all the patches, all the whatever, you're here because you love the game. So why can't we just come together as a community and try to understand both sides? Once we have an understanding of both sides, then we could honestly make this game what it needs to be, or what it could be, and what it should be. Alright, man. Enjoy. I'll catch y'all later.